So we'll do some choke line frictions now. So sort of similar to slow circulation rates, we're going to be doing at the same rates at 20 and 30 strokes per minute. Of course, the choke lines are going to stay the same length, so we really only need to do it once, as long as we're using the same mud weight. So although we do your slow circulation rates at the beginning of every tower, you wouldn't have to do the choke line frictions every tower. So there's 4 ways of doing the choke line friction, and I'll show you the easiest way. It's down, we'll isolate the standpipe. So instead of pumping up the standpipe, we'll pump across from pumps 1 and pumps 2. We'll do one pump at a time. We'll come across to the choke manifold. So we'll come from the standpipe, across the choke manifold, through here and down to the BOP. So we're going to have to open the lower choke line now. Have a look at the manifold pressure up here. As I operate this lower choke, you'll see it drop and come back up. Look at that. And you notice it's taken 4 gallons to operate. The flow meters come up and the pressure dropped off a little bit. Didn't come back up because the pumps haven't come down to 2700 yet. So I reset that float. So now we've got an open line back to the surface, back to our flow line again. It's coming back to the flow line through here. But it's just, instead of going all the way down the drill pipe, we're just measuring the friction between here and the bottom and here, so that the length of the friction in the choke line itself. Again, we do them from here, and I'll just bring it up to 30 strokes a minute. Again, we'll be doing on what we would do them in a real situation. We would do them on both pumps at various speeds. In our case, we're just going to do 30 and 40 strokes per minute. That's all we want. And don't forget, we're going to be reading this pressure here. And you notice now that we've got some pressure on the casing side. That's because we're reading the pressure on this one as well as this one here. So we've got 2 gauges we can read the pressure off. Okay. So that's stable. I would call that 175 psi. So that's our choke line friction, is roughly 175 psi. Okay. And then at 40 strokes, don't forget to get the strokes exactly right. Don't let it wander up or down. That's one of the things when we kill the weld, we keep the strokes exactly on what our choice of circulating speed is. So there we've got about 280. Still climbing a bit. It may go up to 285. I would call that 285. Just go up a bit higher, just to be on the safe side. Okay, shut it down. Okay, so that's one way to do your choke line friction. Another way is to do your normal SCRs as we've done them. I'll line up the manifold again to where we were. Okay, so what we do is circulate from the mud pumps up the standpipe, down the drill pipe, up the annulus, and we close one of the rams. We can close the upper annular if we want, or we can close the pipe rams. Let's close the pipe rams. a bit quicker to close the pipe rams. And again, watch the manifold pressure. See a drop, and when this comes back up, that's when this is how we time it. When this comes back to its original, okay, so now the pipe rams are closed, and it's taken 10 gallons. Okay, have you noticed the pump's kicked in now? Because it dropped to 2700, so this will bring it back up to the accumulator pressure back up to 3000, so that's good. I'll reset the flow counter. Okay, so now, instead of coming up to the flow line, you won't see anything coming out of here because we're going to be going straight through the choke manifold. We're going to be coming up here, and I will open this gut line. This is called the gut line. There's always one on every manifold. It's so that you can circulate through it with a minimum of back pressure. So I'm just going to be circulating back up, and we're going to be reading the pressures again from here. Bring it up to 30. You can hear it going through the choke manifold. You can hear the mud being pumped through the choke manifold on this system. Okay. So now what we're getting here is you can see the drill pipe pressure here is a lot higher again now than what we got when we're doing our SCRs. And the difference between this through the choke manifold and what we got in our SCR is our choke line friction, the difference between the two pressures, which you'll see on your kill sheet, is that's how you do it on that subsea kill sheet. Okay. Also, while we're doing this, you can see the pressure's 340. If we go to, if I open the kill line, which is a static line, we should be able to read a kill pressure which equals what our choke, this one here will give our actual choke line friction. So the choke line friction is 185, and our SCR would have been 160, wasn't it? 160, which is right. So there you go. So you can read the choke line friction there, or it's the difference between this and your SCR pressure. Okay. So I won't do it again. We would do it in various different speeds. I won't be doing it now. We'll just turn it off. And I'll show you one more way to do it. Again, we're going to have the annular closed. Again, the annular is closed, and we're going to be circulating down the kill line, across here, and up there. And we said, what's our choke line friction was 185, okay? So this time we should get about 370. What we're going to do is close this, and we're going to be pumping down the kill line. Straight down the kill line, through a closed BOP. So we're just going to be going down here, back up here, and then back. Then the mud will be pumped back through the gut line, back to the pits. Now the advantage of doing it this way is that we get our original mud, our drilling mud, through both choke and kill lines. We must have the right mud in our choke and kill lines. I will explain about that later if it's different. But so we know that we've got clean mud and the drilling mud through the choke and kill lines, and that's the advantage of doing it this way. So again, we'll fire it up to 30 strokes a minute. Now this time, drill pipe pressure should read about 370 if my calculations are right. So what we're seeing on the drill pipe pressure now is double the choke line friction. $367, $366. So about 83, 183 psi. Half of that is 183, which is exactly what we were getting before on our other calculations. So it just proves that any of these systems, those 4 systems, is okay for doing your choke and kill. Choke line friction. Okay. So there, whenever you do this, don't forget to line back up for drilling. Okay. You're doing this on the rig. Righto, we finished the thing. We finished our SCRs. Let's line back up for drilling. So we line up there. Close that. We can close these 2. Don't forget, just these, only 2 valves open on your choke manifold. And then back to your BOP, don't forget to first open the rams. Don't have a look at the manifold pressure, and also watch this drop. So these 2 pressure gauges will move when you're operating a pipe ram. If you're operating the annular, it would be the annular pressure and the accumulator pressure. Okay, I'm about to open the upper pipe rams. Just take a look. Okay, so there they've started moving, they're opening. You can see the flow kept coming up. Okay, flows 11 gallons and the manifold pressure's back up to what it was. Our accumulator pressure hasn't dropped below 270, so the pump hasn't kicked in. Okay, so that's fine, it's no problem. So I'll reset the flow meter and open the lower choke. Again, 4 gallons, correct count. Reset it, and I'll open the lower, close the lower kill. Okay. Now we're set back up for drilling. We're ready to drill. We've got 10 barrels in the trip tank. We're open back to the active system. We're ready to drill.